Coach Massi here from M2 Speed, Strength, and Performance with another episode of Move Your Feet. Today is the L-Drill Plyometric Progression, episode number 4. We're going to wrap it up. We're wrapping it up today. So we're taking into consideration a pretty good volume of emails that we received from our viewers that have asked us to kind of step it back and go from the beginning and kind of encompass everything into one video. But we do encourage you to go back to videos 1 through 3, inclusive of this one, 4, because we spend a little bit more time in detail on the baseline part of the progression, or I should say the regression, because it deals with like older clientele and people who just aren't there yet, even younger athletes. So I'm going to call Coach Matt in. And Matt, we're going to slow it down. We're going to kind of run this lab-like, interject at any point. Totally unscripted as always, and Matty never knows what's really coming at him, but we're going to kind of go over the review. So let's go from the regression itself, and we're going to progress up. So the L-Drill started as a way, and we'll get outside that white line, as a way to help people understand what it is to actually go from lateral efficacy to linear efficacy, unilateral to bilateral landing, and it looked like this. So unilateral to unilateral, boom, bilateral, boom. It was that simple, right? If you want more of a stick at the end, give a little bit more of a stick at the end. Boom, boom, good. And you're making sure that they don't have that anterior tilt. You want to make sure they have good vertical control, vertical line control, which of course lends to your lifting. And anytime you have a good command of your vertical line, you're going to have really good command of your biomechanics. Then the next thing that we did that was super simple is we added 2 points of elevation right on the line. So you have your markers on the ground. Not a problem. Super simple, super simple. Go ahead, Maddie, show them what that looks like. Just a little bit of elevation. You're starting to progress this movement to have them understand at some point you're going to command, demand, request, suggest that they cover an elevation onto the box before they land. Okay, so you can scoop those up. So we actually had one question that was really good, and somebody asked if you can combine that initial L-Drill progression up onto a box, and the answer is yes, you could do that. And Maddie, I know I'm calling upon you to do this, but we're going to back you up a little bit here, and all we're going to do is you're going to go unilateral, unilateral, jump out, land on 2, and then repeat the progression onto the box. You understand that? Okay, give that a shot. He's not been told to do this. Boom. There's your answer. Of course you can do that. That's great. As a matter of fact, what we do is we vary the sides. So we would have that performed one way, land, perform it the opposite way, land, and try to kind of daisy chain. We usually get up to about 4 of these different boxes, and people get an excellent workout of it, great biomechanical control, proprioception, and kinesthetic awareness. And then once you do what we're about to do, add the load, it jacks it up, it ups the ante. So let's get the tsunami bar on your back. And there's a couple of different ways you could play this. So he's going to put that on his back load, trap load it. And we showed you in the last video the easiest version. He just pushed laterally, covered that elevation, and then landed this way. This time, we're going to do something before he even does that. Matt, drop out, recover, push, and go. So drop out, boom, recover. Good. You see, it's a little bit more difficult. He's got to battle that oscillation a little bit, that amplitude a little bit, but that's okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have him actually oscillate the bar until he gets a go, and he's going to interrupt that pattern. He's going to have to manage all of that oscillation, and he's going to have a really good look at his proprioception in how he moves and quote-unquote defeats some of the angle of deflection, oscillation, and amplitude of the bar. Go ahead, Maddie. Get it rocking, get it rocking, get it rocking, and go. Good. So what you saw there was a little bit more of a delay. Your client, your athlete has to really command that resistance, and you're also going to look to see, are they flexing laterally at the trunk? Are they standing tall? Do they have good command of all of their anatomical components? Let's take another look at that. Ready, Maddie? Oscillate, hard, oscillate, 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 oscillate. Go, push. Good. He's pretty good at that. So that's how you can play around with utilizing the bar. We do have some clients that will jump from basically where he just was, and Maddie, why don't we demonstrate this? Jump here, land, push, and go, okay? We have people that like to deal with 90 degrees. Some people get a little kooky, like to play with 180. So Matt, I know this was impromptu, so do the best you can. So he jumps, turns, hits that single foot, pushes, and goes. Beautiful. Listen, we could play with that all day long, but we're not going to. So you get the gist here, how creative you can be with this progression. So next thing we stepped up to, we got these multi-sticks, and we're going to use the thinner ones for demonstration. We find that that is basically, you know, when I say your general population, that's most of your clients. If you're dealing with collegiate or pro athletes, you're going to want to get these sticks here. So those are called multi-sticks plus from Tsunami Bar, and these are actually called quick sticks. These are heavier. These are interesting. But we like those because you're dealing with generating ground reaction force. And this gets into a lot of ground contact timing. So he's simply going to get the sticks going by flexing it as knees and getting the sticks moving. When I tell him to go, flatter arms, Maddie, really get him moving, he's going to perform the progression. And go. Boom. And you see there's a little bit of footwork required. Most people are not going to be able to manage that initially. So let's take another look at it and see what he has to do with his feet. He almost has a little gather step. Let's get him really going, Maddie. Getting that ground reaction force, and go. Good. That was pretty good. So now what we start dealing with here is we can put markers out. We can start asking him to land in different spots. So once we get an idea of how far he can go, I'm going to say, okay, Matt, listen, I want you to beat this cone right there, okay? On your linear or vertical aspect, I want you to beat the cone. Go. Good. Lands. When I say linear, for us folk, if you deal with football people a lot, you're going to hear the word, it's it's vertical. So once we know he can kind of get to there, what we're going to ask him for is we're going to ask him for that progression, ask him to do that movement, do that protocol. Once he lands here, I want him to jump as far towards the camera as he possibly can. Ready? And go. We got 1, 2, and out. Good. So he did this fairly non-aggressive. He landed about here. This time I'm going to ask him to jump through the camera. Now, Matt, just for the sake of the viewers, you're not using your arms to move the sticks, right?
Nope.
So turn sagittally, let them see. He has his arms flat. Get the sticks going. And rest. That's all minor flexion extension at the knee, and it's actually coming from the ground reaction forces. If we put him on one of our force plates, you would actually see the spikes from the ground reaction forces, okay? So this time, lastly, what we're going to ask him is to do the progression, the protocol, or the progression, hit here, and then try to jump way past that marker, okay? Go. Good. Now, another thing to look at. This is going to be your ground contact time point right here. This is what I'm interested in, that first strike here. So if he were to do this again, which he'll do one more time, I'm going to click, click here. Obviously, if you guys have timing mats, a plyo mat, something like that, it makes it a lot more efficient and effective. But I like to say, use your cell phone too, use your split timer, and then you could keep several different metrics on it. So let's give this one shot, Matt. And all I'm doing is I'm looking here. Go. Great, not bad. Do that one more time. When you try to get this ground contact metric here, you've got to be honed in here because you have to say, okay, hit, gone. So it's hit, gone. Okay, good. That's your time. Ready? Get them going, Maddie. Go! He's around a .28, which is really quick for ground contact time, but that's a great marker. Start playing with it. Maddie, you can go back. Start playing with the markers. Start playing with these as different types of metrics. How far are they able to cover with that linear jump when they come out of the lateral aspect? They go lateral aspect, so you get ground contact time here, you get distance here. Also, we start putting in the progression of diagonal aspects when they come out of the jumps. You can be as creative as you want to be with this. Send me more emails, send me some of those great videos you guys have been sending. But until next time, this is Coach Massi from M2 Speed, Strength, and Performance. Greatness is forged, not fabricated. That's your day.